Assalamu alaikum. I'd like to start off by saying that there's no God but Allah, and Muhammad is his messenger. Peace and blessings be upon him. We thank him every day. I'd like to welcome those that's present and the ones that's in the listening audience to Masjid An Nasr, the community masjid. We are located here at 905 East Skagway, Tampa, Florida, 33604. I like to start the day with our khutbah, overcoming difficulties in our community. But first, I want to lay the foundation by reading from the Holy Quran, the book of knowledge. Before we get started, we seek refuge from the curse of Satan. We always seek refuge before we start our reading. And it says in the 21st chapter, verses 1 through 10, in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. Their reckoning draws near to the people, and they turn away in heedlessness. No new reminder comes to them from their Lord, but they hear it while they play. Their hearts trifling, and they are the wrongdoers. Counsel in secret. He is nothing but a mortal like yourself. Will you then yield to enchantment while you see? He said, my Lord knows every utterance in the heaven and the earth, and he is the hearer and the knower. Indeed, say they, confused dreams, whether he has forged it, whether he is a poet, so let him bring us a sign, such as the former prophets were sent with. Not a town believed before them, which we destroyed. They then believed. And we did not send before you any but men to whom we sent revelation. So ask the followers of the reminder if you do not know. Nor did we give them bodies, not eating food, nor did they live forever. Then we made our promise good to them, so we delivered them and whom we pleased, and we destroyed the extravagant. Certainly, we have revealed to you a book which will give you evidence. Do you not then understand? So when we read from the Holy Quran, when the prophets came from Allah to bring the people a message, they faced the difficulty to get the message to the people. The people said they brought enchantment. They didn't want to listen to the prophets of God. When you take all the prophets, Moses, peace and blessings be upon him. Noah, peace and blessings be upon him. Lot, peace and blessings be upon him. The difficulties that they had to overcome to deliver a message from Allah. Some of our Christian brothers and sisters, they are familiar with these prophets. Moses, Jesus, Lot, and in Islam they're called Musa, Lut, and Isa. All these prophets face difficulties to deliver the message to the people, because when you deliver a message to people that's been in falsehood, there's a difficulty factor involved. And how did the prophets handle that difficulty? They stayed on task. They stayed with their faith. They kept up belief in their Lord. So we're going to read some more from the Holy Quran. The 21st chapter, the 16th verse through the 18th verse. And we did not create the heavens and the earth and all that was in between them for sport. If we had wished to take a pastime, we would have taken it from before ourselves. By no means would we do so. Indeed, we hurled truth against falsehood so it knocked out its brains. And what you described. So you see, in this particular surah, it talks about hurling truth at falsehood. And earlier we had, in one of our earlier khutbahs, we talked about truth and lie. That truth and lie jumped in the same pool. And the lie jumped out and put on truth clothes. And when the truth realized what had happened, he jumped out of the pool and started chasing that lie. And the brothers say, what do you have? He said, you have naked truth chasing a well-dressed lie. And that happens often to the prophets of God. They come to the people naked, with naked truth, chasing a lie that's well-dressed in the clothes of this world. So they up against enormous odds to deliver the message because the people are so used to the lie. If you look at Musa or Moses and what he had to go against to deliver a message to his people, and Pharaoh had them in his grips. Pharaoh had a well-dressed lie. The people loved Pharaoh. The children of Israel loved Pharaoh. And they say, why did he love them? Because he gave them nothing. So when we look at the condition in our community, which we'll talk about later in the second half, we're chasing a well-dressed lie, as did the prophets did. Every prophet had to go against the rulers of this world, which is dressed in fine clothing, attractive clothing, to entice the people to wrongdoing. And here comes Allah, the Lord of the worlds, saying, turn back to me, and surely you'll be the winner. So let's continue our reading. When we look at Surah 94, and it reads, we have not expanded for you your breast with divine light and removed from you your burden, which weighed down your backs, and exalted for you your mentions. Surely with difficulties come ease. With difficulties is surely ease. So when you are free from anxiety, work hard. What are they saying here to the prophets? You know, they say, surely we had not expanded your breast, and we removed from you your burden. What burden? The burden of the people. The people saying negative things, telling Noah, Prophet Noah, peace and blessings be upon him. No, it ain't never rained. What are you talking about? Get away from here with that foolishness. You imagine what his children had to endure, the laughter, the mockery. Your father crazy, your father crazy. People never saw rain. Then that first drop of rain hit, bang. Second drop, bang, bang. That third drop, bang, bang, bang. But the people, it was too late. Noah had preached the word for years, and the people was making mockery. But he had to overcome that difficulty for the ones that wanted to hear the word. So we're still talking about overcoming difficulty to deliver the word of Allah. That difficulty factor that we're faced with, that the prophets was faced with, to deliver a message. The Quran said we are responsible to deliver a clear message to the people, not to retreat. Many of y'all was in the military. They said, don't retreat, go forward. The Quran said, go forward, equip heavily alight, move forward with your Lord's command. And then it said, we exalted your mentions, your desires. We put them forefront for you. We made you successful over the people. And then it said, surely with difficulty come ease. Difficulty. See, after difficulty come ease. After the heat of the day, sometimes you get rain. Rain comes down to cool you off after the heat of the day. After your difficulties, after your striving, after your praying, come ease. It reminds me the holy month of Ramadan, the fast. When you're fasting, it's a difficulty factor in that. Because the Quran, in the month of fasting, we stay away from water, food, things that are natural to the body, and sustain from sex during the daylight hours. Now, this past Ramadan went 14 to 15 hours a day. Surely there was a difficulty factor there for many that participated in the fast, but they overcame that. And after the sun was set, ease came. That went on for 30 days. And then after that, you have the festival, the Eid festival, where you enjoy all kind of foods. Lay it out on the table. Lay the spread out on the table. And you enjoy the friendship and the fellowship of other believers in the month of Ramadan, the Muslims do. So they said, after that, after Allah has freed you from anxiety, work hard, work joyfully. It's time to go to work now. You done overcame the difficulties, and sometimes we forget about the assignment. What is the assignment? To deliver a clear message. And we'll go farther over that in the next part 2. What is the assignment that the prophets had? The assignment was simple yet complex. They had to deliver a clear message against opposition, the opposing rulers of the world. They had to deliver a message to the people to turn back to Allah. You didn't think that was difficult? You know people, you deal with them today. It's very difficult to get to people. But anything of value has a difficulty to it. If you want diamonds, you don't find diamonds laying on the ground. No, you got to dig in the earth where the diamonds are made. Pressure. Pressure is put on that diamond. They got black diamonds, red diamonds, clear diamonds. And when we look at it, the diamond is so beautiful. You say, this couldn't have been a piece of coal. But under the right circumstances, under the right pressure, something is formed that would be beautiful to the eyes. And then they bring it to the stone cutter. And he starts to work with that piece of rock and cuts it and makes it shine and glimmer. And people pay thousands and tens of thousands of dollars for that piece of rock because it has value to it, because they had to work for it. It's like the people of God has value, but the prophets had to work for it. They preached for years. Noah just didn't preach 1 year, 2 years. This went on for years. That he had to endure. He had to overcome a difficulty. What about us? Are we willing to make that type of sacrifice for our Lord? To overcome a difficulty to get to something that's valuable? You know, they have people that climb mountains, endure horrific physical torment to climb a mountain. Mount Everest is one of them, 29,000 feet. They have to endure physical brutality. It takes mental strength to climb that mountain. It takes strength that you have to pull out of yourself. You have to overcome difficulties to meet your goal. That's what we're talking about now, to overcome difficulties that, and we're using the prophets of Allah in this first half. We mentioning what the prophets had to do, what they had to endure, the not, I wouldn't say arguments, but the mockery from the people. And no one believed. Even some of their family members wouldn't believe. And they had to endure that. They had to overcome that difficulty to get something that's precious, which is the people of God. See, you got to have a love for this mission. All the believers must have a love for God's people, God's creation, humanity. We have to have a love for humanity to complete this mission. So that ends the first half. And I leave you with the greeting words, Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. I'd like to welcome all that have joined us in the viewing audience. And the ones that's here again that came in a little late, I'd like to welcome you to Masjid An Nasr. We're dealing with overcoming difficulties from a community aspect this time. We talked about the Quranic and the prophets and what they had to overcome, what they had to endure to overcome their difficulties. But we face these same difficulties in our community. Why has Allah, God, ordained struggle for you and me? Why has He put difficulties in our path to overcome? It's like you go into a weight room and you just stand there, you're not lifting up no weights. You're not pushing no iron. Many of us that have lifted weights or attempted to lift weights, we know it builds body mass. So when we go into a spiritual gym, we praying, we reading the Quran, we reading the Bible, we reading the Torah, we reading our spiritual books to build spiritual mass. Why are we doing this? Why are these struggles put in front of us? So we can overcome difficulties. So in the Quran, it says that struggle was ordained for men. Why would Allah, God, put struggle before us if we say He's merciful, He's beneficent? Because you have to develop. You have to put on what our Christian brothers say, the full armor of God. You have to be prayed up, studied up when we go into our communities to get our people. We talked about them being diamonds. You can't just pick up a diamond on the floor. You have to dig for it. You're going to have to work hard to get our people in our community. We're in one of the horrific communities in the Tampa Bay area, the Cepphal Springs community, where the average income used to be 9,000. I think they done moved it up to 14 or 15,000 a year. Poverty. The people don't even know where their next meal gonna come from. So there's a difficulty factor there to go out and ministry to these people. It's a church on every corner. Everybody goes in the church and they look at the people at the surrounding areas and they go in there and make their prayer and they go home. But we did something different this week at Masjid An Nasr. We went into the community. We knocked on doors. We talked to parents because we're starting a summer program here that we're serious about. We offering a summer program for the youth here at Masjid An Nasr. So it's a difficulty factor in that. We had to go knock on doors. We had to actually speak to people. This is what the work is about. Think Noah just sat down in his cabin or house and didn't get out and try to deliver a message? Yeah, he did. Did he get rejected? Yeah, he did. Did we get rejected when we went out? Yeah, we got rejected. But most of the people was happy to see us out and about. Someone cares. And that's what we have to do. We have to be caring. We have to be loving. The ministry work is a tough job. But we as believers, we say we give our life and our death all for Allah. and you won't go knock on the door? Think over this. This is why struggle is necessary to achieve the goal, to reach the goal post. You got to go through something. You know, those that play sports, to reach that goal line, take a team effort. Can't do it by yourself. You have to have a team effort to go out and do things to make the community better, to clean up the community. And that brings me to the next subject of some of the things that Masjid An Nasr has planned this year for the community. Is there any life form that comes into existence without struggle? We talked about struggle earlier. That struggle was ordained for man. We talked about the life germ called sperm that comes to a living being. The struggle that sperm has to endure. It has to swim uphill in the womb, in mother's womb, which is a hostile environment. Swimming uphill, millions of them, but only one makes it. And he meets the egg, or she meets the egg, and the egg is fertilized by the rest of the sperm. So when you look at sperm, you disregard it. Something nasty, even though it's value there. We don't see the value of it. We disregard it. So is our community. We don't see the value of the ones in our community, so we disregard it. We don't look at the potential. We talked last week about building human potential. And if you're going to do that, you got to overcome a lot of difficulties. You got to see value in that person, in that little child, in that soul that might be smoking crack, might have the bottle turned up. You got to see value. You got to look past their faults. Our Christian brothers say, we look past their faults and saw the value, saw that diamond that nobody else could see. All they saw was a piece of coal. But we was able to see that diamond shining. Even though it wasn't shining, we know that if it get that word from Allah, that diamond would shine. One of our leaders, one of our famous leaders, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, has said that if Allah God has created man to face difficulties, then a difficulty factor is present that intensifies as man moves closer to the goal. What is the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan saying? That the closer you get to delivering the word, opposition intensifies. Something comes up. Something unexpected comes up that's trying to divert our attention from delivering a clear message of Allah to the people. So don't let nothing turn you back because of the difficulty factor. Because when you turn back, you're going to face it again. You make up in your mind that you're going to move forward equipped heavily alike, that you're willing to put on your mountain climbing gloves, your mountain climbing shoes, and throw that rope up on that mountain and start to climb that difficulty in your life, to overcome that difficulty. And after that, guess what? Ease come. The easement, the dawn of the day comes. The night of the day, the cooling of the day comes. But if you never attempt to climb that mountain, never attempt, if you're looking at the mountain and say, that mountain is too high, I'll never make it, then you won't meet the goal, because it's going to get difficult as you go. As Minister said. And when you look at the study guides that I'm talking from to help build a better community, put out by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, that you see potential in humanity that should help you get off our backside and attempt the uphill road. What is the uphill road? They say to free a slave. What kind of slave? The deaf, dumb, and blind. The ones that's been put to sleep. That mountain represents difficulties that we have to go through to get to our people in the community, to get to that goal. You don't find gold lying on the ground either. It's in the earth. You have to dig inside that person and sit there, listen to what they're saying, have patience with that person. When you see them with the withered hand, sit there and listen. And reminder. What did it say in the scripture? A reminder. We have to be a reminder to our brothers and sisters of righteousness. You know, babies are getting gunned down at the ages of 12 and 13. You can't turn on the news and not see a killing. Who would go forth? Who would say my life and my death is all for Allah? Who would be the victory? Who does the victory belongs to? It truly belongs to the believers. The believers is who I'm appealing to. The believers, I don't care what the faith is, but we're looking for the believers to step forth and come forth and helping the community. You know, we are Muslims. I know a lot of Christian brothers and sisters, a lot of Buddhist brothers and sisters, a lot of Jewish brothers and sisters. It's going to take all of us to deliver a clear message, to uplift our community, and just stop driving by our people and seeing them suffer when you know you can help. We know we can help, and we just disregard them instead of how Brother Jesus, we say Isa in Islam. He said, pick up your cross, pick up your burden, and follow me. How many of us are willing to pick up that burden to deliver the message of Allah? So, even when you look at your marriages, Um, in Islam, it says marriage is half the faith. Why did it say marriage is half the faith? That's a lot of weight. You know, we take a course and we say 40% is homework, 10% is your notebook, uh, the other percentage is for classwork. But they say half the faith, 50% of what you do in Islam is contribute to marriage. Why? Because there's a difficulty factor in marriage. You bring in two people from two different backgrounds together in unity to get on one accord. Surely there's a difficulty factor on that. The ones like myself and others that are married. Uh, Sometimes they say, well, they say if you make it past 5 years, you're doing good. You got a good chance of that marriage succeed. All marriages should be successful, in my humble opinion. But it's struggle there. A lot of us don't want to struggle. You know, I don't like her because she left the toothpaste on the sink. She left he left dishes in the sink. I'm leaving. Did we ever think to talk it out, work it out? We just want to run the first chance we get because it's a difficulty factor there. How can you say you're going to save your people and you can't even save your marriage? Think over this. The salesman that goes out every day and takes rejection from the people that he sells. Some of y'all know what I'm talking about. People call your house and trying to sell something. You hang up, I don't want none of that. He has to be able to handle rejection. See, when we go into the community, you don't think you're going to experience rejection? Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. You're going to experience rejection. Do that makes you turn heed and run? Or do you get stronger in the mission and say, I get the next one? Because if one rejected, he gonna look and say, well, he wasn't really about it. He just turned away. If he see you going to the next person, they say, man, he really believe that, man. Let me go check that out. See if that's altogether true what he's saying. See, you never know how it plays on another mind, what they see you doing in the community. So that's why I say we need to move forward, equipped, heavily alike. We need to be a beacon in the community. You know, we say that judgment coming to the house of God first. Why would it come to the house of God if everybody in there got it so right? Say judgment starts in the church, starts in the masjid, start in the mosque, start in the temple. Why? Because that's where the servants are. And that's why we must be a reminder before destruction comes. See, the day of destruction is not just one day. Don't get it twisted. Destruction comes every day in our life when we turn away from difficulty. We lose. We want to be among the winners. So we have to push through the difficulties. We have to push through rejection. Because when you go to do this work, God's work, Allah's work, Jehovah's work, you're going to run into some difficulties. And as I speak to you, I speak to myself that we must meet and overcome all difficulties. That's the training. Meet and overcome all difficulties. So we thank the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan for providing such a wonderful study guide for us to go over. I chose to mention some of the things that he has put forth and some of the things that other leaders have put forth to make us better human beings, to have humanity. Don't worry if you like the person or you don't like the person. Listen what's coming out of their mouth that can improve your life. You see what the prophets had to go through. Is he a Muslim? Is he a Christian? Is he a real Christian? Is he a real Muslim? Is he a real Jew? Not listening to what they're coming out their mouth, they just want to criticize one another so they won't have to overcome difficulties. See, it's easy to criticize one another so you won't have to own up to your responsibility. But if it's coming from T.D. Jakes' mouth and it's the truth, I bow down. Whoever mouth that has come from, we bow down to truth because Allah say he hurled truth at falsehood, hurled it. He didn't just throw it, he hurled it at falsehood and not bring out. What is he saying? What is he saying? The truth that he allows to come from your mouth will overcome any difficulties that we might face in life, in the community, in our house. Think over these things. And we want to speak truth to falsehood. I thank you for listening. I thank the ones that came out today. I thank the ones that are in the listening audience today. And I like to say, if anything I said that wasn't right, that comes from Brother Richard. If anything I said was any good to you, that comes from Allah. I like to leave you, but before I leave you, know that if we pick up our cross, pick up our struggles, and go forth, we'll be of the successful ones. We'll be of the winners, believers. We'll be one of the winners. But we gotta stay steadfast in this work. We gotta eat, live, and sleep the resurrection of the people of God. Once again, I thank you for listening. I'd like to invite y'all all out again to Masjid An Nasr, the ones that's in the listening audience. Stay tuned for our live broadcast. We weren't able to live broadcast this week, but next week, my co-chair, Brother Jarvis, will be speaking on a weighty subject that I want you to tune in on. How to build a moral community. There's a difficulty factor in that. So come back next week. Stay tuned in next week to your community masjid, Masjid An Nasr. We're located at 905 East Skagway, Tampa, Florida. And I leave you as I came in the greeting words of Assalamu alaikum.